Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this Tuesday afternoon's webinar at 12 o'clock with me, Richard, and my colleague down there today, not up there, Alex. How are you, Alex?
Hi, everyone.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. As we were saying previously, I feel a little bit tired. I think it's the weather.
Yeah, I think so. I'm very sensitive to the weather. So, yeah.
Well, okay. in which way?
I think my mood changes with the weather. So sometimes I just can't manage to wake up, and these are the days. Yeah, when the weather is like this.
No, it's quite interesting because many years ago they were talking about this SAD syndrome.
I can understand, yeah.
And it SAD means something like severe something Yeah, it doesn't just mean SAD. It's an acronym of something.
Okay.
And it's when you don't when you're not exposed to a lot of sunlight. And it makes you depressed. It is an actual condition.
It is.
And a friend of mine, she actually suffered from it.
Oh boy.
Good morning, Deborah.
Good morning. Hi, nice, Deborah. Nice to see you again.
How are you, Deborah? Okay, so sorry. Yeah, my friend did actually suffer from this. Okay.
Yeah, it must be the D stands for some disorder of some sort.
Or deficiency or something. Disorder or deficiency. I don't know. Yeah, but it's when you're not exposed to a lot of sunlight, and it actually makes you depressed. Which I can get that. Okay, let's just do the introductions as normal for other people that don't know us. So as I said, my name's Richard. I'm originally from Wales in the UK, so I am Welsh, and I am a teacher. Excuse me, guys. I am a corporate teacher in Milan at the school in Meravili. So being a corporate teacher, I work a lot in companies inside and outside of Milan, teaching business English and general English. And sometimes, depending what the company requires, we sometimes teach different things for the companies. And I have been living in Milan for around I think it would be 5 years in December, I think. So quite a while. What about you, Al?
I am also a corporate teacher like Richard, and I live in Milan, and I'm half American and half Italian. On my mother's side, I'm American. I have also lived in the United States for a couple years. I have still my relatives there, so I talk to them very often. And what to say, I have a background in marketing, and I focus on teaching adults business English and general English. So as Richard, I often go to companies and or either teach individuals online, especially in this current situation. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell. If you would like to drop a line and tell us who you are and where you're listening from, and maybe something about your profession if you work or if you are a student, we're just happy to hear from you.
Yeah, guys, let us know. We just put the banner up there. Yeah, right. Let us know who you are, where you're listening from, what you guys do. Yes, what do you use English for? How important maybe is English in your job or in your personal life, or anything. And like I say, even if the questions are not related to the topic, not a problem. we will answer the best we can. Okay, so the focus we've chosen today is about telephoning. I think we've done one before on telephoning, haven't we? Yeah.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, we try to cover the most important aspects we think of what you use English for. So we do concentrate a lot on telephoning, emails, networking, some management. So we hope this will be useful for you guys. And the title or the subject within the activity is called Getting Information. Okay, so let's have a look at what we're going to look at in this focus activity. Alex?
So in this business activity, we're going to look at how to express polite requests, so how to make polite requests. We're also going to see ways to ask for repetition and to clarify details. That means when I ask the person I'm speaking to repeat the information or to give more details to clarify.
Yeah, and of course, because this is a business focus, the most important aspect really is the first one, or in the first bullet point, the word polite. Yes, when you have to ask for something, or when you ask someone to repeat something, or when you want someone to clarify something, sometimes it can be done in a very direct way. Well, what we are trying to look at in this focus is to do it in a more indirect way, a very polite way.
Delicate, yes.
Yes, a nice way to ask, yes. So let's have a look at the first slide. Okay, shall I read?
Sure.
Yeah, okay. We have the title, Calling Around. Okay, and calling around means making calls in general. Who are you calling? Yes, and the question is, which of these types of telephone calls do you make? Okay, about a technical problem, for information, to make a reservation, or to order an item. So we'll split it into the three sections. So which of those do you make, Alex?
Well, remember we're talking about business, so I'll try to answer you thinking about my profession. So I am a teacher. I generally make telephone calls related to information, for asking or giving information regarding the type of job that I do. So maybe it may be related to lessons that I'm doing, or to ask for updates on a calendar, on maybe a course that is in progress or needs to start, or basically, updating colleagues or the school regarding my availabilities. So what I'm doing currently and how much time I have to take in new courses or new students. So in my type of job, there are not many occasions for making reservations or ordering items. There may be, I'm thinking, situations in which, especially in this current period, we are doing a lot of lessons online. So of course there may be several occasions in which there are technical problems. For example, bandwidth. I'm talking about internet. So the internet isn't going very well. It could be bandwidth, or else it could be glitches or bugs in the software we use. So the software isn't working very well. Luckily for us, that doesn't happen very often, but it has happened lately.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, same for me, really, because Alex and I have really the same job, so it doesn't change much. But for information, just to add one or two little things, that's all really. I may speak to Alex for information when we are discussing maybe future webinars or information, requesting advice from Alex sometimes, yes, and also maybe our bosses information, maybe on new courses, how many people are in the course, what do they need to do, what are the requirements, yeah, so we build up a picture. So that those type of questions for information on the telephone, yes. Technical problems, as Alex said, very similar, and we have had to adapt in this time using some new technology and some new software, and very rarely, but we have encountered some technical problems. So we do make telephone calls either to report these or just to see if they are normal, just in case it could be our equipment, maybe that's not functioning properly. Ordering stuff, I don't know, anything really to do with
work related, nothing, but of course, privately in the current situation, I have been making orders on the phone, maybe for food or deliveries. So of course, you may make phone calls or receive phone calls regarding orders.
Yeah,
but it's
basically
exactly in my private life.
Make a reservation. No. However, it would be something that maybe we would have to do if we were going to a conference with the school, or maybe a meeting maybe in another city, because we have schools all over Italy. So we might need to make a reservation like that. Information also, I was just thinking, because these are telephone calls, sometimes when I go to a new company, there may be some information that I would call them about. Very small things, but they could make a big difference. I always ask them about parking. Yes, because I always, if I'm a bit unsure and I know the area and I think it's quite a built up area or something, I may ring our contact point there and say, I'm bringing my car. What's the parking situation like? Is it very busy, or can I park somewhere? It just basically allows me to plan my time accordingly. If I need to get somewhere a lot earlier, just because I need to park, or you may be able to park on their premises. Yes. Also location. Sometimes you may ask for a bit more specific directions to a place. Yes, a landmark, for example. So, okay, yeah, just stuff like that, really. Okay.
Okay, so what do all these 4 bullet points have in common? Well, we can say that, of course, the quality of the information is important in all of these types of phone calls. So it is very important to give and to receive accurate information regarding a technical problem or the type of information you're conveying, the reservation, and the item you're interested in. So for this reason, we are going to look at expressions that allow us to make sure that you have understood, or that your contact has understood what you are trying to say.
Okay. And let's have a look at the questions in red underneath. It says, which type is each of these an example of? So first question is, when does the bus for Gatwick leave? Okay. And I'll use first person. My laptop won't start, or your laptop won't start. So the first one is we are requesting information.
Right.
Okay, so we're asking for the time, basically. And the next one is a technical problem, because we are talking about a laptop. And what type of problems can we encounter when we use a telephone asking for maybe information, or if we're asking about a technical problem? What type of problems can we encounter?
Well, we've spoken before of how important the quality of the information is. So things that can impede, they can block the quality, maybe, for example, a bad line. You may have problems hearing the other person speak, or especially in the case of technical problems, the person may be speaking, or it may be required for you to use a jargon spelled Jargon, jargon. A jargon is a very specific type of language which is used by only a type of person, maybe the IT man, which can solve your problems on your computer, or if you're part of a specific job category, maybe you're a lawyer, then you're speaking legal English, and that can be considered a jargon. It's not a language that every person may easily understand.
Yeah, this is sometimes something that really I find difficult, especially with the technical stuff, especially with computers anyway. And I mean, to me, sometimes they may not be using jargon, but it's like jargon to me, because my knowledge of computers is really bad. So I have to have it in a very simplified form. Alex had a very good point. I'm just going to take this off. Alex had a very good point there also. Legal jargon, yes, can be very complicated, yeah, in any language, even in your own language. This is true. I'm not just saying this for this webinar, but yesterday my wife actually translated a legal document from Italian to English, and she asked me yesterday afternoon to check it for the English. Her English is very good, but she just gets me to look over it. And I looked over it and I said, yeah, the English is fine. I said, I don't really understand it. Because it was full of this jargon, yeah? I mean, it was the English was well written and everything, but of course, there's a lot of jargon, and they're written in a very specific way, yes? So even for me, when I was trying to check it, I had to really concentrate.
So let's just ask our listeners, what are the problems that you encounter when you're on the phone? We haven't mentioned accents, but of course, there may be situations in which the accent or the speed of the speech may be something difficult. Please let us know what you find most challenging when you are on the phone.
I will continue the subject about jargon, something very not similar, but when we spoke about emails in one of the webinars, we said it's quite important to think who you are speaking to. Yes, so whether it's within writing or on the phone, and the language you use, then you should maybe adapt it to the person you're speaking to. For example, if you are speaking to someone that English is their second language, yes, maybe sometimes you wouldn't use so many phrasal verbs, for example. Yes?
Yes.
You would maybe use the real verb, the proper verb, as I would say. It's not really correct, but because those type of things, not everybody knows everything. Yes? So it could be difficult. Ah, yes. Very good. I agree. That's a really good one we didn't think about. From Deborah, she says, also the tone. It could seem angry, but it isn't. Yeah, the tone is really important. And sometimes...
And also, yeah, I was thinking, sorry for the interruption, but
no, sure.
I was just thinking on the importance of the tone is critical. And that is why we insist, especially when we do these business webinars, on the importance of using a polite language, because these expressions allow you to even soften generally the tone, especially when you are dealing with requests or with complaints. This is not the specific case, but especially if you're dealing maybe with a technical problem, you may need to make a complaint, and you never want to sound aggressive. That is not something that is very professional, especially in a business context. So that's why we insist on these polite expressions.
No, exactly. There's one thing you don't want to be is aggressive, because it won't actually get you anywhere. So the tone is very important. And also, sometimes it's hard to balance the tone. Yes, because in some ways you wouldn't want to be maybe too serious, and you wouldn't want to seem as if you're too relaxed either. Sometimes you want a sort of neutral tone. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, sorry.
Yeah, no, we're not going to do the role play. We are going to look quickly. We're going to look at this case study. And it's a case study with Alpha Apps. And it says, Alpha Apps, based in London, currently makes apps for mobile devices. They made an accounting app, EasyRate, that clients could download directly to their laptops as well. Unfortunately, EasyRate had a few bugs when used with operating systems made before 2010. Afterwards, they created a patch to fix the problem. They sent out a newsletter email to all clients advising them to update their EasyRate software. Okay, before we look at the questions, let's look at the text. I don't think for you guys there should be any words that are difficult, but we'll just review the words in red. So we have the word bug or bugs, which is used a lot in when we talk about computers and computer software. And a bug, Alex, is what?
Well, it's not an animal in this context.
No.
We're talking about a problem in a program. So if there is a bug, there is normally a defect or a flaw in the functioning of, in this case, it's an app. So the app won't function correctly.
Okay. And the next one, a patch. Now, again, see, because of the jargon, for me, I can only give my interpretation of this, but maybe
like
I'm sure.
Patch?
Yeah, I'm sure a computer expert would maybe explain it maybe a bit better. But basically, a patch is a repair or a solution. Yes, and normally it's software that fixes or repairs the fault or the bug, the defect. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Is that okay?
Yeah. I'm satisfied. I mean, I'm a layperson.
Yeah,
layperson is the opposite of a technical person. So if you are a layperson, you use a lay speak or a lay language. That means easy and simple. It's the opposite of jargon.
Yeah, and I think with the patch, I think from what I remember speaking to someone about this, I think you can either do it yourself, yes, or sometimes it's a patch they create which is like automatic and fixes the problem, or maybe sometimes you have to download it. Like I say, I'm not an expert. I think two or three different ways they can do it.
I think so, yes. So
Okay. Hmm.
let's look at the questions. And the question number 1 is, what is the problem with Easy Rate?
Okay, so as we said, Easy Rate has a few bugs, has a few problems, defects, faults. Okay.
With all types of computers or mobile, or just a few?
No, very good point actually. No, with the operating systems made before 2010. Yes. So maybe the operating system before 2010, because it's old,
Yes,
is
obsolete.
yeah, and maybe not so sophisticated. Um, a true story again, which it is true. Surprisingly, I spoke to my mother yesterday afternoon, and she wanted to download WhatsApp onto her iPad, and again, it was a similar problem. It wouldn't allow. I was a bit surprised actually, because I didn't think it would have been a problem, but it said that because her iPad was quite old, it couldn't do it. So, but she's had her iPad for quite a long time. So,
Yeah, sometimes they just stop updating apps from a certain, they realize that maybe there's a curve of adoption, a curve, and so the majority may be using a certain operating system, and then there are few and fewer people using older operating systems, so they just stop updating.
okay, yeah.
So, question
Uh,
number 2.
how was it resolved, and was there a better way? Al?
Well, they resolved by producing and distributing a patch. They distributed the patch by sending out a newsletter notifying clients that had downloaded that app. I think personally that that is a correct way to proceed. So I doubt there was something else they could have done. Sometimes companies just require, especially with apps, being on the mobile, sometimes they just require an update. And the update is, so the difference between an update and a patch is that you download the patch only if you had the problem. Instead, an update is downloaded by everybody who has that same app. In some cases, it won't do much. In others, it will solve the bug. So probably that could have been a different approach, but I think they behaved in the correct manner.
Very good. Did you work in IT as well?
No, unfortunately, my story being in marketing is especially digital marketing. You need to at least have a vague idea of that world in order to talk, to understand the jargon of the people you speak to. So I used to be more on the client side, so close to the commercial side. But of course, behind me was the IT. And so you needed to act as a bridge between the client and the IT. And that's why, at least for some things, you need to understand what you're talking about.
Alex is being humble now, guys. Alex is very good with technology, especially when it comes down to media and stuff like that. So she's underselling herself there. She's very good with technology and has helped me a lot. So thank
That's
you.
good.
Do you think all customers downloaded the patch? I don't know.
Probably not. Like
I
I was
don't
just
think.
saying,
Yeah,
probably only the people who had the problem
these are people who understood what
or how to do
what
it.
they
Yes,
have to do it. Someone like me, no.
what they were supposed to do.
No, I doubt if all of the customers downloaded the patch, but I'm sure some of them did. We don't really know the answer to that question.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
So let's go forward. And okay, so this is a conversation. We're talking about help computer frozen. That's a weird adjective to associate to the computer. What does that mean?
When frozen, it's blocked. It's stuck. Yeah.
It won't work.
It won't work. So maybe you can't even move your mouse. When we are using video conferencing or videos, if the screen is frozen, the person's photo picture doesn't move, it just stays like that. Yeah.
No, it's frozen. It's frozen, like you're paralyzed, basically.
This is
That's
this is a great thing that I heard on the news this today about people using Zoom, yes, to do their work, and if they don't maybe want to speak to someone, or they can't answer a question or something, they actually pretend that the screen has frozen. So they like.
And what about your eyes? Don't your eyes move after a while?
And then they'll switch it off or something, you know. So or send a message. Sorry, the computer froze. And they're just like, yeah.
But that is ridiculous. Anyway, please, people, behave as adults and don't do that.
No,
Come on.
don't behave like adults. Okay, so that's computer frozen. It's when the computer doesn't work for some particular reason, and it happens quite frequently sometimes. Okay, so shall we?
Do you want to be the operator?
I will, because I don't know if it's male or female, but we know Mary Ellen's female, so
Yeah,
Mary
okay.
Ellen sounds very American, doesn't it?
Mary Ellen, yes,
Mary
like
Ellen.
Sue Ellen, something like that.
Okay. Yeah, I'll be the operator.
Okay.
Could you tell me what the problem is?
Your software makes my computer freeze.
Could you tell me if you are using the 2013 package?
No, I'm using the 2012 package.
Could you repeat that? I didn't catch the year.
2012.
Ah, okay. Did you download the bug patch?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
There is a software fix available on our site for the 2012 software.
Oh, should I download that?
Yes. Go to the download section and download the link called 2012 patch.
Just to check that I understood, you said 2012 patch?
That's right. Okay. Very good.
Yeah.
It's like an
We're
addition.
bound to win the Oscars next year.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Oh.
and the BAFTAs. The
Yes.
BAFTAs and the Oscars.
Yes, everything. Just
Actually, we must probably put up for a Rotten Tomato award or something. Yeah?
wonderful. Okay, so let's look at the dialogue. And how does the operator ask about the problem, Richard?
Okay, so it's right at the very beginning. Could you tell me what the problem is? Okay,
Exactly.
we're gonna look at these phrases in the next slide or two to maybe give you some more examples or for us to comment a little bit more on them. But at the moment, we'll answer the questions. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So, like you said, could you tell me what the problem is? Then, how does the client ask for clarification? Well, it happens in two different in two different moments. So first of all, I'm sorry, what did you say?
Mm-hmm.
So as you can see, I'm asking for a repetition. So it's nice to start the sentence with "I'm sorry," because the person has already spoken and said the information. I am just asking for a favor to repeat. And the other is just to check that I understood. So I am giving an explanation for the reason for asking repetition.
Yes, I'm going back to that first answer, Al, which is just something that Alex said at the beginning of the lesson. The language is important, so by putting "I'm sorry" in front, it softens it. You wouldn't just say, "What did you say?" It's quite direct, yes. So by putting "I'm sorry," yes. Okay.
Okay. So next, how might you ask for repetition if you didn't hear something?
She says.
The operator says, "Could you repeat that?"
Mhm. Yeah.
I didn't catch the year. So to catch means to get something. So you might catch a ball. Well, you can also catch language. It means that you didn't quite understand or you're not sure. And so you say, "I didn't catch that. I didn't understand. I didn't hear that properly."
Exactly, and 9 times out of 10, you follow it or begin it with that phrase. Could you repeat that? Yes. Sorry, I didn't catch that. Could you repeat it, please? Yes. Or could you repeat it, please? I didn't catch that. Yes. They normally go hand in hand, those phrases. Yes.
Yes, correct.
Um,
So remember, generally when you're asking for clarification or for a repetition, it is always good to give the reason. For example, "I didn't catch that," the reason why you're asking for a repetition, or simply apologize. So say, "I'm sorry, what did you say?" It's just nice manners, basically.
yeah, it saves people maybe getting a little bit annoyed, or if you've asked them, especially when maybe you have to ask them twice to repeat something or 3 times to repeat something. Sometimes people start thinking, "Oh my gosh," But by saying "I'm sorry," it softens it. Yes.
Yes, yes. And finally, that's it. So let's go to review the language. So this is the language we have encountered. As you can see, we have 3 groups. Do you want to talk about that, Richard?
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so the first one we have is under the category "making polite requests," and as we spoke about in our previous email webinars, of course, when we use business English, the use of modals are quite important because they formalize the language and also make it more polite. Yes. So as you can see there, using the modal "could." Very polite, very formal. Yes. Could you tell me what the problem is? I would maybe add the magic word somewhere there. Please.
You please and thank yous.
Yes. Okay. So as you know, with "please," we could have it at the beginning, the middle, or the end. So we could say, "Please, could you tell me what the problem is? Could you please tell me what the problem is?" Or "Could you tell me what the problem is, please?" And I'm only going to say that once. I'm not going to repeat it for all the other ones.
Right. Let's say there's no excuse not to say please. You can put it wherever you want, in the front, in the middle, or in the end. Just say it. It's very nice.
And for the others in the examples also. So like I say, I won't do it for each one. Could you tell me if? Okay. Again, yes, you're asking for a request, or again, you can use the magic word. asking for repetition. Again, you could see that when we ask the question, we use the modal. So we could say, could you repeat that? Could you say that again? I'm sorry, what did you say? Or I didn't catch that. And
well, it's interesting to see, talking about the modal could, the first two sentences, well, also the first two of making polite requests, you could substitute could with can, and the meaning would be very similar. But the difference is that could allows us to make the request in a more polite manner. So we are insisting a lot because, again, in business English, you need to express all requests in a more polite manner. So that is why you could substitute could, sorry for the play on words, you could substitute could with can, but in that case, it really is of extreme importance to add please. So can you repeat that, please?
yeah,
It makes
exactly.
it still polite, but you can't omit please if you're using can.
For sure. Well, that's what I would recommend also.
Yes, I mean, you could, you're just sounding less polite.
Yeah, you can use can, no problem, because it has the same function. But by adding the please, you're making it more formal or a little bit nicer. Using could, you don't have to use the please, but by using could, it automatically formalizes it. But of course, then by using both, using could and please, you're being very polite.
Yes.
My comment for that also, where we have the third one in the asking for repetition, I'm sorry. What did you say? The I'm sorry makes it very polite. You could add that phrase at the beginning of the first two. I'm sorry. Could you repeat that?
You
I'm
could say,
sorry.
forgive me. Forgive me. What did you say?
So again, you can use a lot of different combinations of these things depending on who you are speaking to, how formal or polite you want to be. Okay, as we said before, there are different situations where you think maybe I should be very polite in this situation, or maybe there are situations where you think, well, I'm going to be polite, but I'm not going to be over polite. I'm not going to, I'm not speaking to the queen or something. So again, guys, it's exactly the same as Italian. Yes, in the fact that you make your mind up. It's just logic, really, whether you should be polite or very polite. Okay, and then for clarifying details, we have just to check that I understood. You said. So that's the 2012 package, correct? And let me repeat that 2012 patch. Okay, you can see that in the both they're actually using words or some of the language that the person has said previously to clarify or to check the understanding. Yes, in the first one it just says just to check that I understood. Oh no, well actually it would follow at the end, wouldn't it? You said, yeah. It's where you are repeating what the person actually said to you. Okay, do you want to add anything?
Not really. In the second sentence of clarifying details that ends with correct, you could eventually use right, and it would mean the same. It would mean the same. So that's the 2012 package. Right or correct? They're both used.
I would say correct is maybe a little bit more formal than right. But again, depending on who you're speaking to, it's okay. It's not offensive, put it that way. Yeah,
No,
it's a little bit less formal. Okay.
So let's just practice these expressions. Would you like to do this or skip to next?
let's get to the next one. I think
Okay. So let's put it in practice. And so we're going to look at yes/no questions. So as you have seen, a lot of the sentences in the review we have just done use could. So could you tell me if? Of course, the answer is a yes or no. In other cases, we're asking for specific information. So that would mean that you're doing actually an open question. So the structure would be, for example, could you tell me when the shop opens? So you are introducing a question, an indirect question with could. As you can see in this specific question, I don't have the auxiliary after the question word, because the real question is, could you tell me? So it's not, could you tell me when does the shop open? It's, could you tell me when the shop opens? Another example is, could you tell me what time the flight leaves?
Okay, so you're asking for a polite request and some more detail, yes? Okay, like Alex said, it's an open question, not a closed question.
Okay, so let's put into practice this grammar with these questions.
Okay, we'll just do, an example each for, we won't make a whole story about it. Yeah, so it says change the following into polite questions. Why can't our company join the fair? Well, that's very direct, yes. So you could say, could you tell me why our company can't join the fair? Yeah? Yeah? Or please could you tell me why can't our company join the fair? Okay, next one.
Next, are there any new products available for next year? Could you tell me if there are any products available for next year? Because this is a yes or no question.
Next one, can we extend the warranty? You could use the yes/no question. Could you tell me if we could extend the warranty? Yes. Or if we can extend the warranty?
Could, yeah. Then when is the deadline for applying? Could you tell me when the deadline for applying is?
Yeah, more specific. Very good. Is Ms. Schultz available to speak next month? Could you tell me if Ms. Schultz is available to speak next month?
And finally, could we visit the factory this year? Again, this is a yes or no question, so I'm going to use the first structure. Could you tell me if we could visit the factory this year?
Okay, and Deborah has
if we can, yes,
participated. Thank you very much, Deborah. And your questions are perfect. The grammar is very good. Great, good. Thanks for.
I like the fact that you decided to use the can and followed with a please. Like we said, can or could both cover the same function, but could is definitely more polite. So if we're using can, remember to follow with a please. Follow or anticipate or whatever. Remember to use it together.
Yeah, I would really recommend that, as Alex said. Yes, if you are using can in business English, whether it's within writing or speaking, please try to remember to follow it with please. There's no problem using can. but say by phone with please, it's nice. It's correct.
Okay.
Okay, guys. Thank you very much for viewing today. We hope the webinar has been useful. As you remember, we looked at language for making polite requests on the telephone. And as Alex has just done here, here are some of the phrases we looked at. So we looked at making polite requests with the examples. We looked at how we ask for repetition, again, in a polite way. And as we said, your modals are important. And the last one we looked at was how we clarify details when we want to check for understanding, and there are some phrases there. So again, thank
you everybody.
Thank you for viewing. We have another webinar tomorrow at the same time at 12. And just to remind you, of course, the school is closed on Friday, so there won't be any webinars at all on Friday. Have a nice day, guys, from wherever you're listening or viewing. I'm not sure what we're going to use for these.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye. Bye.